Did you always want to be in that line of work?
I always wanted to be famous.
If you need to read off the sides we gave you, just go ahead, all right?
I know the last.
You started your career in the 80s. That's when you rose to stardom. And one of your first roles in 1980 was Friday the 13th, a horror film, and you died an iconic death. No spoilers. So now you are come full circle, starring in a horror film set in the 1980s. So what is it like to revisit this time that you are very familiar with, you lived in a genre you sort of started out in?
Yeah, it does feel kind of full circle. I started out in horror only because, not because I was like, I got to get into a horror movie. It was because I needed a job. Literally, I was a waiter, and I wanted to, do this movie. That was just, just had to. I needed the gig. But I have come back to it again and again because I like it. I like the genre. I'm a consumer of it. And also, I like the fact that it's life and death. I like the stakes. High stakes are something that is great for an actor. The fact that this takes place in 1985 it is super interesting to me because I was there, in Hollywood, in that car that Maxine drives. That's what I used to rent when I came out here. I was an East Coast person. So there is something really kind of like trippy about this whole experience, and certainly about watching the movie.
Yeah, especially because that was the era that you were in Footloose and these other big, like, career-making films.
Yeah, 84 is when Footloose came out, and 84 is also when Beverly Hills Cop came out, and I've just finished promoting Beverly Hills Cop, which I'm in the new Beverly Hills Cop. So there's a lot of weird stuff that's like, happening right now in my life.
When you were driving that car in Hollywood in 1985 and Phyllis had just come out and you stopped at the traffic lights, did people ever go, oh my God, it's Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Is that why you got that car? Or
That's why I got it.
Yeah.
No, that's why I got it. Although I got it in black, and it worked really well because I had a very large black dog. So it would be me in the, 560 SL black convertible with a large black dog in the top down. It worked.
It was a moment. Yeah.
You are famous for some really nuanced, emotionally complicated roles. You are Princess Diana of Wales in The Crown. You are Ayesha in Guardians of the Galaxy for all of us comic lovers here at CBR. Elizabeth Bender, the director character, she seems like this sort of stern, intimidating figure, but it turns out she's a good egg. She's a lovely person. She's the most heroic role you've played since Mopsy the Rabbit. So how do you embody this sort of more subtle, heroic character in the scary Hollywood setting?
Oh, well, first of all, I just really loved the role. And I understood that my piece of the story was to sort of like protect and champion Mia, Maxine. And so I really liked playing somebody who was a kind of source of good, disguised at first. And like you said, like a kind of stern, maybe like a harder egg to crack. But actually, by the end, you realize that she just actually really cares about this woman. That felt like an important female to female relationship, in one in the genre, but two in the film. So
yeah, especially because the many meta films, the director can sometimes be a more seedy or dangerous role, but no, that was subverted here. It was
exactly right. Yeah, no, she is, as we say in the UK, she does what it says on the tin. She actually is exactly who she says she is. And I liked that honesty, and yeah, I felt like she kind of really loves Maxine. She sees something really unique in her and she champions her.
This is a very meta film. This is a film about making a film with all the behind the scenes drama that goes on in the making of, albeit to the most extreme level, of course. So you are both actors. You live and work the Hollywood experience for a living. Do you guys find yourselves relating to Miss Bender, Maxine, all these characters trying to make their way through Hollywood?
I really enjoyed it for many reasons. It's the audition scene, the opening scene in the film. One of the reasons I loved it was I loved watching Mia work. I love actors. I love watching actors act. That's for me is so much of the enjoyment of doing what I do. When you have a scene where you don't have a lot of lines and someone does amazing work in front of you, that's the only time I ever drop my lines. Because I'm so curious to see what people are doing with the dialogue. And so that was just a joy for me to watch Mia do sort of take after take and get more and more like swallowed into the monologue. It was beautiful. But there is something very accurate. I mean, it's very heightened because obviously it's in this huge soundstage and the producers are all full and immediately judgmental. But auditions are audition. They're the most crucial kind of step, but also universally sort of vulnerable making. And it doesn't really matter how long you've been doing it or how good. If you really want the part, the audition always scares the hell out of you. And you kind of walk out really wobbly and feel like you've left a piece of your soul on the table and you'll never get it back.
Yeah.
And if you don't get the job, you never get it back.
It's good to know that even the most seasoned and experienced actors still get the audition interview jitters.
Yes, I'm really nervous all the time in life, particularly if I have to introduce things or say things in forums or give speeches at weddings or any of that. I'm so bad at that stuff.